I'll step outside too.
Good morning, fans of MMA. We are excited today. We have a special guest, Jesse Butler. We're going to be talking with him about the upcoming event this Saturday at the UFC on ESPN 57 at the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky. Jesse is 12-5, and he is going to be fighting Brad KATONA, and Brad is 13-3, so it's going to be one heck of an event. And there's going to be some other great matches as well, but this is the one we are most excited about. So, Jesse, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, what was life like growing up in Louisiana?
It's outdoors. It's hunting and fishing. Uh, it's growing up in the woods. I live on 5 acres, so I hunt in my backyard. Uh, Sports, it's just down south. Sports is it's a big thing. So sports and outdoors is basically what I've done my whole life.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of done your whole life, the sport was baseball, I understand. Growing up, you played it at the highest level, and you even had scholarship offers. What position did you play?
I played shortstop, and I was going to play second base in college just because I was a little bit smaller. But I could do a little bit of everything on the field. I caught, I pitched, but mainly played infield, short and second.
After walking away from baseball, what was your transition like into MMA?
Yeah, so I just knew I still had the competitive edge in me. I knew I was an athlete and had that fire, and just grew up watching the UFC on TV. Seeing it on cable at a young age. I gravitate. I was pulled toward it for God knows why. Maybe that's just the reason. Uh, just walking to a gym one day, and after that first sparring session, I knew like, okay, this is pretty sweet. I never quit going after that first day.
Definitely. On a lot of interviews, I've heard you say that, like you just said there, walked into a gym one day. What was that gym?
So in my hometown, it was just a small gym that was an MMA gym, and we would get in there and spar a couple times a week and super hard training sessions. And I was 17 at the time, so it really grew me up. And sparring with older, bigger guys, and yeah, it's part of the process.
So, in other words, despite not having a wrestling background, because like that area that you're from is not really big into wrestling or boxing or martial arts, um, you chose MMA because of your commitment to competition, it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't even know wrestling and jujitsu were really, I knew what it was, but that wasn't the main thing at that time. I just knew fighting, and so yeah, good point. No big backgrounds in Louisiana. They don't even have wrestling where I'm from.
At what point did UFC become the goal?
Even when I was an amateur, I believed like, maybe it was maybe I was in a little over my head, but as an amateur, my first fight, I was thinking like, I'm gonna be in the UFC, and I would tell people that. So from the beginning, I had that dream.
I understand you had one heck of an amateur fight. That first fight, you blacked out and you still were able to win.
Yeah, kind of like an adrenaline thing, just completely blacked out. I didn't remember the fight until afterwards and watching it. Um, yeah, it gets better over time when you're young and you're having your first fight, kind of just out of it, and it was a cool experience. I wouldn't want to take that away.
Excellent. So it sounds like at that point you become addicted to mixed martial arts.
Yeah, it was definitely a high that I never felt, and that's probably one reason that I still fight today. It's like you can't find that anywhere else.
You mentioned having that goal of the UFC right away. And I think the reason why you were able to achieve the goal is because you treated those amateur fights like professional fights. Was that
Yeah.
an intentional thing?
For sure. Just acting as a professional, just treating it like how I knew high school baseball. It's all I cared about at the time. My entire day was based around that. So just carrying that over to fighting just maybe speaks to the person I am. Um, having my diet intact, everything at house, everything at the home good, sleep, etc. So I've always treated myself like a pro. I had a long amateur career, and the whole time, there was never any time off really. So always trained like a professional.
UFC and MMA, a lot of times people are like, oh, that was his first fight. No, it wasn't your first fight. Gosh, you've had 16 amateur, 16 professional. So this is going to be your approximately 33rd fight. How has the world of MMA treated you?
Treated me awesome. The people you meet and the things you go through, like you don't. It's so much you don't even remember all of it. But the past 13 years of my life have been nothing but fighting. So just the people that you meet and the things that happen, it's almost storybook like, dream like, and you forget a lot of it. Really, it's happened fast.
Despite being someone who fights all the time, I understand outside of the world of fighting that you're quite a calm, mellow fella.
Say that again.
I understand, that you fight all the time at MMA, but outside of the world of MMA, you're quite calm and mellow.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm very calm. My dad's super calm and laid back. So yeah, outside of fighting, I'm very laid back. I don't have much energy outside of training.
What happened about 3 years ago that made you feel that the UFC was in reach?
Yeah, just I think growing up and realizing how much you think you have forever when you're young, and you start getting a little bit older. I just turned 32, so you just start growing up and realizing like now's the time. And of course, some wins were put together that were impressive, and fighting tougher opponents in a bigger promotion. I fought with Fury right before the UFC, and that's where I really started understanding like, okay, I can do this. I can do this at the highest level, and I want to compete at the highest level.
When you're not fighting, I understand that you're in the world of sales. What do you sell and who do you sell it to?
I sell bathroom remodels. There's a company called Bath Planet, and uh, we're in a small local area, but I cover about a 2 hour radius, north, south, east, and west. So I sell shower remodels and safety tub remodels and things like that. I just make the sale. I don't do any of the installs or anything. So my job's fairly easy. I'll go on a couple sales calls a day, and then my entire day is based on training pretty much. So very easy job. My boss is very close to me. He's actually one of my coaches.
Oh,
So that
wow.
goes hand in hand. He owns the gym, and he also owns this bathroom remodel company. So he treats me like a son, and it's been a very smooth process. I've been doing that for the past 7 or 8 years now, and it pays the bills, and it just keeps me stress free, and I'm super thankful for that.
That is awesome. And then I understand when you're not doing that, not doing MMA, you're working on those 5 acres. Do you have anything planted on the 5 acres?
Yeah, we do. My wife does a very good job at that. We grow right now. We got potatoes, cucumbers, tomatoes, blueberries, onions, peas, peppers, a little bit of everything. And this was our first year to do a big scale of it, and it's been a blast. There's always things that come with learning and failing, but that's part of the process, and it makes it really fun. Uh, might have some cool videos when I get home because it's really starting to come into fruition now. Now that we're getting in the summer and we've had some good rain, the garden's looking great. So we really enjoy that.
That's awesome. Recently, I understand that you had your birthday, so happy birthday. I think May 24th, 25th, right
Yeah,
around there. And
24th.
then 24th, excellent. I was going to say, so we're only a week apart on birthdays. I'm the 17th of May.
Nice.
And then I understand that not too long from now, your son's turning 2. Does it feel like time is flying by?
Yeah, he did just turn 2. It was in April actually, but yeah, time does fly. Once you have kids, you realize how fast time is moving. Before you have kids, you don't really know. You're just kind of floating around, and then you have kids, and you're like, where are these years going? So yeah, it's time is flying by.
I know what you mean. I got a little fella who's 12, and gosh, I mean, he's just grown up so darn quick. It feels like he was, your guy's age the other day, and then yeah, now he's in middle school, so it's flying by.
When you're younger, you think everyone think a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old is old, and then
Exactly.
when you turn 30, you're like, 30's not old. Like I still feel like a kid.
Exactly. So how is splitting time between home in Louisiana and your camp in Dallas, Texas been treating you?
Really good. It made the last 6 months. It's been about 6, 7 months that I've been with Fortis in Dallas, and it's been fun. Just having the different vibes and the different energy to go to training. It breaks up the normal
Monotony.
basic schedule. Yeah, yeah, it breaks it up for you and gives you those butterflies. Hey, I'm training with new guys. I got new coaches, so the back and forth was nice because I could come back home and work on things I need to work on, and then head back to Fortis. So, really good.
And what's the transition like from featherweight to bantamweight?
Yeah, so that was a part of the reason that we needed all this time was to make the transition. Of course, I'm a couple days from weigh-ins now, so about to wrap it up, and it's just been dedication. The diet, of course, has been since January, so about 5, 6 months of dieting, and is really giving me a respect for food and just a different a different mindset when it comes to eating for fuel instead of pleasure. So it's been tough, honestly.
Definitely. And I know you would never say this, but I'm gonna say it. I think it was a bit unfair that first fight with the UFC. They gave you a new weight class. They gave you 2 days notice. Now, fortunately, I understand though that you are the type of fighter that you train year round and you stay in fighting shape. How does doing that help you prepare for when they pull things like that?
Yeah, so I'm always in shape and ready. I'm ready to fight. In a couple hours. I'm ready to fight in a couple minutes if I need to. Like we said, going back to the question earlier, that's why I'm a professional. That's why I'm at this point is because of the way I treat the sport. Um, so yeah, I don't know. We could say unfair, but at the same time, that was my way to get in, and I was honored to take that fight. And with it being Jim Miller, most fights in the UFC, most wins in the UFC, I think at this point, uh, just honored to take that, and I like it on my resume.
Did you have any concerns, not so much about the fight, but with the limited time to get everything done? Because I understand before a fight, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of logistics, there's a lot of things that you have to do.
Yeah, it was wild. We got the call on Thursday. I got the call on Thursday at like 4 o'clock. We flew out that night. Friday all day I was doing medicals until the weigh-ins. And yeah, it was pretty stressful, but my team helps me out so much. It was laid back for me. All I had to do was show up and fight. I was already at weight, obviously, a couple pounds from it. So it was stressful, but that's I have been waiting a year on that call. So I was chomping at the bit.
Definitely. And then you've been on both sides of the knockout like that. Like I understand it remind the after watching the and I'm gonna get his name wrong, but the Fallen fight.
Masia.
Yeah,
Masia Pullen, yeah.
yeah. That one, your knockout in that fight was very similar to what happened to you with the Miller fight.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I told my wife that after the fight, like sometimes that's just fighting. Those knockouts happen, and it's a crazy thing. It's not always the best fighter who wins. Those kinds of things just happen in the cage sometimes, and that's one thing we have to keep perspective when we go in there. All it takes is one. So any guy can win with one punch, one knee, one kick, and it's a good way to look at it. It can happen both sides any night.
Exactly. And that's the thing of people that understand MMA. Unfortunately, not everybody actually understands MMA. And you have those folks out there that, that look at the number of seconds and think that is a derogative against, you, where quite frankly, like you said, one punch can be the difference in the fight sometimes.
Right.
So, how are you able to deal with adversity and work your way back?
You know, when you've been fighting for 13 years, you deal with adversity probably at least every week. There injuries, diet, things at home going on while you're training. So it's constant adversity. You got to keep a positive mindset no matter what happens. Have that positive mindset in your head and just push all those negative things to the side and keep your head straight. It is tough at times. You have to keep reminding yourself, you have to coach yourself just like a coach coaches you. You have to be your own coach and deal with those things mentally.
Well, I understand one of the bright sides about your MMA career, or one of the many, is that you haven't had any serious injuries.
Thank God, no. I've never had a serious injury in my life, so thank God for that. Let's knock on wood. Uh, I don't want any.
So now that you're down in Louisville, Kentucky, what is your schedule for this week like?
Yeah, so I'll wrap up some media today. Tomorrow I get the full day off. So just some light training sessions, finish getting the weight off. We got weigh-ins Friday morning. I'm here at an Airbnb with my family. We got a
Nice, yeah.
nice spot with a yard. So very thankful not to be in a hotel, cooped up in a hotel for a week. So I got my whole family here, more friends and family coming today and tomorrow. So man, I'm just enjoying it, taking everything in while we're here.
That is awesome. And it's great that the UFC provides things like that and opportunities for you to still be with your family, even when you're getting ready for a major event like this. So tell us about your opponent, Brad Caton. What do you know about him?
Super good opponent. Got a great resume. He's the only fighter to ever win the Ultimate Fighter twice. That came from getting in the Ultimate Fighter. He won it, got in the UFC, got cut, went back to the Ultimate Fighter, won it again. So very impressive resume. Has fought some really tough guys. Um, he's 5'6". I've got a big reach advantage, a big height advantage on him. Um, he mixes it up well. Good takedowns, good boxing. Box on the Canadian uh, boxing team. Uh, so very respected opponent. I was thrilled to get the call for someone like that. Those are the kind of names I want to hear, just like the Jim Miller fight. These fights excite me. I'm not scared of these opponents. I believe I can beat them. That's why I'm here.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say the reason why your MMA is not, or UFC is not just to be able to say you did some UFC fights. It sounds like based on your other interviews, you're here to win UFC fights. And like you
Yeah,
said, having those type of names on your resume are going to be a big help in the future to, yeah, progress you in the division.
for sure.
So who's going to be in your corner?
So my coaches from Louisiana will be in my corner. My brother, Dakota, my head coach, Jonathan Brantley, and Hank Hamilton, one of my striking coaches. Coach Saif was supposed to be in my corner from Fortis and Dallas, but he wasn't able to make it last minute. So no worries there. He's been a part of my camp the whole time. So uh, got my normal crew with me.
Nice. How important is it to visualize and prepare for the fight mentally and not just physically?
Yeah, that's huge. And you do that all camp. You do it as much as you can. Sometimes you try to turn it off in your head because you keep replaying it so much, but it's huge. Mental training is just as good as physical.
That is awesome. Well, Jesse, it has been a pleasure having you on the show. It's been great talking about the UFC and your rise to the UFC. But specifically, we are excited about this Saturday, June 8th, KFC Yum Center, Louisville, Kentucky, and you got that big fight. Um, I know obviously you're focused on your fight, but any other matches that you're going to want to check out?
I like the Roses Ricky Tercios fight. They're also bantamweight. I think they're on the main card. Interested in that fight. And Andrea Lee, she's from Louisiana as well, and
Nice.
we fought on several cards together growing up. So excited to see her as always. She's been in the UFC for a while now, so that was pretty cool to me.
That's awesome. And any social media or websites or anything you want to promote?
That's her.
Okay, sounds great.
I do want to say, Cincinnati Reds fan, or are you from Cincinnati?
Yes, sir. Cincinnati Reds fan.
De
Yeah,
La
shoot,
Cruz hit a
I'm.
home run last night.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, I'm just right down the road from you. I live in Florence, Kentucky.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, but yeah, shoot, yeah, big Reds fan. Been enjoying them playing this season, and
Yeah,
oh my gosh, yeah, they got some great guys on there.
they're fun to
Yeah,
watch when they're playing good. They're fun.
exactly. The problem is sometimes little things come up, either injuries or you know how it is with baseball.
Oh yeah.
And then, of course, since you're from Louisiana, we want to thank you for our quarterback. I know he's not from there, but he played there, and yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, he has made such a world of difference, Joe Burrow. I mean, because he's originally an Ohio guy going down to LSU, but I think that changed him and made him the winner that he is today.
Yeah, the Bengals are they're
Who's him? Okay. Well, it was a pleasure having Jesse Butler on the show, and we were hoping the best of luck in the fight tonight.